All right, traders, to watch this video for Tuesday, May 28th. Quick to point out here that volume's pretty low and we are trading, now we're trading a 4-day week following a holiday Monday. And so it's just important for me to remind you guys that a lot of times during and around holidays, volume's really light. And so even if you have the best setup you've ever seen, a lot of times you'll see that they'll move a little bit and then they won't really follow through. And it's just a matter of not enough participants to really flow into a stock and get it going. Like I said, even on the best setup. So I don't like to see people end the day or the week or periods like this, if you're a newer trader, and scratching your head going, man, why isn't anything following through? What am I doing? No, actually, a lot of people say, well, what am I doing wrong? I don't feel like I'm doing anything differently. A lot of times you're not. It's just not an environment where things are going to follow through. So recognizing that ahead of time could save you a lot of heartache. Hopefully I can talk you into sizing down a bit, and even on the best setups, maybe take profits a little quicker and expect things to not follow through. And if you scale out in parts, you can still take advantage of something that might follow through, right? You can still have some shares. I want to slide this over real quick because it's our next free webinar, and it's coming up on Thursday, May 30th, so that's in a few days. We've got, I think, 10 free webinars right now. We really always get nice feedback on our webinars. It doesn't cost you anything. We're not selling anything. We are actually giving away one of our A+ setups from our trading course. Now, what do I mean by giving away? We're actually going to go through every piece of the puzzle on one of our A+ setups and explain it rule by rule, exactly what we look for. And so, get registered, and it's not some kind of clickbait. We're actually going to go through and teach you one of our favorite setups. All right. So I'd love to see you there. We're also going to be going over our top 5 aha moments that helped us put the day trading puzzle pieces together. So there'll be a link down below. Click on that and get registered. And we hope to see everybody on Thursday at 7 o'clock. All right. One other thing I want to show you, this isn't stock related, but we got a text. My wife got a text from one of our neighbors. We've only lived here a month. And she texted my wife and said, hey, there's a pretty big gator out in front of your house right now. They were out there walking their dogs like 10 o'clock at night. And so went out there and snapped this picture. And I've lived in Florida 10 years, and I've never seen a sizable gator. We've seen a couple babies on the side of a pond, and one time driving down the road, I saw a gator swimming across a lake. But other than that, people saying there are gators all over Florida. Well, in certain parts there are, and I think I just moved to one. But this is the first time in 10 years I've seen something of that size, just to maybe dispel some myths about Florida. But that was pretty cool. You should have seen the neighbor kid. He was getting kind of close to take a picture, and then this guy opened his mouth and hissed, and the kid almost came out of his shoes. It was pretty amusing. All right, anyway, so what am I watching for Tuesday? Keep in mind everything I said about holiday volume. LK, really beaten up since the IPO, had a nice bounce on Thursday and a quiet inside day on Friday. So I'm kind of watching for a potential long over 1570, which is Friday's high, which then might get it to overtake Thursday's high, and the whole number 16 might come into play. So you could get a decent bounce. Some people might say, well, actually this is an ugly chart, and then this inside day might mean it's taking a break and it's going to continue down, and it might. But keep in mind, I'm a day trader, so I'm only looking for specific intraday setups to get me involved. And in this case, I'm leaning long because I do think it's oversold and had a nice bounce on Thursday. And if it just tanks from the open, it'll just be a stock that I'm not involved in. I doubt I'd be able to short that being a recent IPO anyway. So I'm leaning long, but only with a proper intraday setup. I hope that makes sense. OTLK. Really nice move back here, pulled back for a few days, and it's starting to turn back up again. The whole number 3 might come into play, and then the most recent high was 335. So certainly want to watch that one. WKHS, huge move back here, came back down, tested the 20-day, really nice bounce, tested the 20-day again on Thursday, and is curling back up again. So it's holding the 20-day. I do think it's worth watching for a potential long on Tuesday. PIRS. Nice breakout over this 4 level, right? It hit it here, hit it back here, and then on big volume, ripped through it on Friday. So it's extended, it's kind of away from the moving averages, but I do think it's worth watching, maybe Tuesday, maybe later in the week, but for a potential red to green or some kind of decent setup for a follow through of this kind of mini breakout it did on the chart. Limited brands LB, really nice breakout on, well, not a breakout, nice rip from lows, from chart lows on Thursday, and you kind of have a 2-day high now right around that whole number 25. I think that's worth keeping an eye on. Nothing really pretty about this MARA chart. It's kind of but it is back down to support, right? You had nice support back here, big volume a couple weeks ago. And it's kind of my go-to stock if Bitcoin's moving. And I took this screenshot a little bit ago, making this video on Monday at almost 4 p.m. The stock market's closed obviously on Monday. But this is Bitcoin daily candles, and it was really kind of coiling around 8 grand and then kind of ripped on the daily here, so it's kind of a nice breakout. So when I saw that, I thought, you know what, I'm going to watch this MARA. It'll probably, if Bitcoin holds up by the time we open on Tuesday, then this will probably be a gapper, but maybe we can get a low risk gap and go setup. We'll see. So that's the reason MARA is on a chart. Zoom ZM, that's actually the company we use in our chat room every morning for sound. Great platform, by the way. Wayne and I can both talk on the mic at the same time, and there's no feedback over each other. I mean, people can hear us both talking at the same time. It's a great platform. Anyway, great IPO from 60 to over 90. Now we've got 4 days down in a row. Right here is resistance, right, somewhere around 74, and then it became support right here. After breaking through it, it kind of tested this area, and also tested it on Friday. So this is on bounce watch going into next week. You know, you got the 20-day kind of that is trying to hold. It went below it, but ended up closing pretty close to it. So be watching this one for a decent bounce this week. Again, only with a proper intraday setup. MAXR actually is one of the screenshots I posted on StockTwits and Twitter. I'll throw this up there just to show you a big volume on Thursday where it tested daily resistance. And then kind of a quiet inside day where it retraced part of Thursday's candle on Friday on lower volume. I think this is a decent kind of, might form a cup and handle this week and then break out. So I certainly want to watch MAXR. And then lastly, Kohl's, which isn't a pretty chart. This is KSS, but it's pretty beaten up. And if you notice going to 15-minute candles, this is the day it gapped down and kind of broke its early high in the middle of the day. Then the very next day, it put in its early high in the first 30 minutes. Same thing for the next day, and same thing for Friday. Put in its early high, since these are 15-minute candles, in the first 30 minutes. I'm looking for kind of a sideways action and an afternoon break out of its highs. A lot of times that's a pretty good formula for kind of an afternoon little burst of short covering. So again, as a day trader, it doesn't cost me anything to have Kohl's on a chart. Again, not a pretty daily chart, but if I can get an afternoon break out of a range, I could probably get a decent trade out of that. All right, there's not a lot to watch. Hopefully we'll have some decent gappers this week, but really, really remember to watch your position size and expect less follow through, this being a holiday week. All right, I'm done babbling. We'll see everybody in chat on Tuesday.